Happy New Year, Julia. Where are we going to start 2026 and why?
Happy New Year, Sean. We're heading to the edge of the Arctic Circle to see how European identity is being turned into something you can actually feel and experience. We're visiting the Arctic region of Finland because the city of Oulu is European Capital of Culture 2026.
Yes, Oulu is a place that I had the fortune of visiting. It's up in the Finnish Arctic, and I can tell you it's a fantastic place to celebrate culture and European identity. But first, Julia, remind us who you are and what we are doing here.
I'm Julia Konowrocka, and this is the Letter from Brussels podcast, where our followers get to know the European Union and its capital city in a unique way.
Hello, Vanessa, and Happy New Year.
Hello, Sean. Happy New Year to both of you.
Tell us who you are and why are you joining Julia and myself on the podcast today?
So my name is Vanessa Knežević, and I'm here to tell you all about the transformative power of the European Capital of Culture and how liberal and democrat mayors champion this EU program.
Well, thank you, Vanessa, and you're very welcome. And I'm Sean O'Kernan, welcoming viewers and listeners to the studio of the European Committee of the Regions on behalf of the Liberal and Democrat local and regional leaders of the Renew Europe political family. So we're gathered today for the latest episode of Letter from Brussels, the podcast through which you get to know Europe like you've never known it before. And as always, we'll be finishing the episode with a fascinating story from Brussels Capital Region related to today's topic, European Capital of Culture. Vanessa, tell us in a couple of sentences why so many cities around Europe put so much effort into trying to win the title of European Capital of Culture.
There are so many reasons that they are doing it. The European Capital of Culture is, in fact, a multi-annual investment tool. And it's taking a very broad definition of culture, allowing a city to use its creative industries, artistic and scientific endeavors, and of course local traditions to regenerate neighborhoods, to develop tourism, and connect the city in new ways with partners across the European Union. And although the title is held for only 1 year, the investment and the activities start already in the years prior, and the legacy in the years after is a key part of the program. This is a powerful tool for any mayor to transform his or her town or city. And not only that, but to spread the opportunities. There are always 2 cities in 2 different countries holding the title at the same time.
Perfect. That really sets the scene about what European Capital of Culture is, why it is so important, and why so many mayors are interested in bringing it to their cities. So let's take ourselves now to the city of Oulu in the Arctic region of Finland, one of the European capitals of culture in 2026. Julia, tell us where exactly is Oulu, what kind of place is it, and what is our connection with it?
Absolutely. So Oulu is a port city. It's at the very north of the Gulf of Bothnia, which is opposite northern Sweden. It has a population of just over 200,000. And our vice president, so Mirja Vekapera, was chair of the board. So in other words, she was the city's political leader from 2019 to 2025. So all the years leading up to this title of the Capital of Culture.
Yeah, and it was in those years that you might remember I had the opportunity to visit Oulu. It was April 2023, of course, with our president, François de Coster. And the thing that surprised me the most visiting there was my second time to the Arctic, but really the first time to the Finnish Arctic region, was how many people live there. My first time in the Arctic had been to a more remote place, but Oulu is truly a large city in the Arctic region, and I really expected the city and the wider hinterland to be much more uninhabited. And I was also amazed by the amount of high-tech research that takes place in Oulu. They have an excellent university up there. So Julia, Vanessa, you've both been reading quite a lot about Oulu and European Capital of Culture and the program that they have for this year. If both of you had the chance to visit Oulu tomorrow, what is the first thing that you would like to see?
Honestly, I've been diving into the program, and I think what really stands out to me is how they've turned education into a creative initiative. So personally, if I were there tomorrow, I think I would head straight to something called the SEED project. The name sounds a bit technical. It stands for Sustainable Empowerment through Eco Art and Development. But the actual mission is incredible. It's not just an environmental initiative, but it actually doubles as a career starter for unemployed women. So what's really cool about it, in my opinion, is that it's much more than a hobby class. They actually bring in professional art coaches and professional artists who lead these women through different art forms using recycled and natural materials. And I think the part that really hooked me is that it's not just about this art, but the fact that they also teach essential skills that are needed to run a business, such as entrepreneurship. So at the end of the day, when you think about it, it's art that builds a future. And I think that's exactly what Capital of Culture should be doing.
I think if I would go to Oulu tomorrow, I would rather head right away to the Frozen People Festival. It's a music festival organized on the frozen lake of Oulu. And it feels like the perfect expression of what the city is all about. People from very different backgrounds sharing the same space, the same winter, and the same moment. So knowing how international the city is, with large Chinese, Indian, Russian, Iraqi, and Vietnamese communities, so many different languages spoken at the same time, I would really be curious to experience this diversity and see how it takes shape in a very, very Nordic setting. So I'd also maybe like to visit the International House of Oulu, because it's the city's commitment to inclusion, but in a very, very practical way.
Yeah, I agree. Those are two excellent choices, which I would find very interesting myself as well. And I'm sure many of our followers would too. And I trust that they are already planning their visit to Oulu while it is European Capital of Culture. What about Mirja Vekapera, our Vice President? What can you tell us about her?
Well, Mirja Vekapera was elected to the Oulu City Council 30 years ago. And after about 10 years in local politics, she understood that the voice of the Arctic needs to be heard more on the international arena. So in 2007, she got elected to the Finnish National Parliament, and a decade later to the European Parliament. Afterwards, she became chair of the City Board of Oulu in 2019, and she's had this position just until recently, until June 2025.
So, Julia, thank you for that. We're obviously talking about Oulu and Mirja Vekapera's role in the years leading up to European Capital of Culture. And Oulu has now officially become, this week, European Capital of Culture, one of the two in 2026. But as we've already heard, Capital of Culture starts several years, or at least the work for it starts several years in advance. And you already spotted something some months ago that caught your attention while you were preparing an edition of our Street Field Snapshot. What was it that you spotted, and what was special about it?
Yes, almost a year ago now, I came across this story. It was about a century-old silo that had been part of a factory producing cellulose for a paper factory in England. And it closed in 1985, and it's been abandoned ever since. The silo is a 28-meter tall building. It was made almost entirely of concrete, and it's a protected building because it's an example of both architectural and engineering innovations of the early 20th century. But nobody really knew what to do with this building, and that was all the way until Oulu was selected to become European Capital of Culture. So nowadays, the Aalto silo, as it's called, which was even voted the ugliest building in Oulu in 2019. It has been repurposed into both a cultural and a social hub for the people of Oulu. So it has exhibition spaces, performance venues, it has a cafe, it has workspaces, even a rooftop view of the city. And it's actually one of the central legacy projects of Oulu Capital of Culture. Because when you think about it, it's a fantastic example of how European Capital of Culture can transform a local community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would encourage our followers to check out the website of the Aalto Silo to see, because it truly is a very distinctive building. I can see why it was voted the ugliest, but I bet you now the people of Oulu are starting to see the beauty of it in its transformation and the different aspects that you've already described. And as we'll hear from Vanessa shortly, European Capital of Culture does more than just transform physical spaces. But before that, Julia, you found this story while you were preparing an edition of Street Field. Can you remind us quickly what is Street Field and what is special about it?
Absolutely. Street Field is our newsletter. It comes out every first Tuesday of the month. And we like to call it a snapshot rather than a newsletter, because what it does is it gives its subscribers a snapshot of what's happening on the ground in all of the local communities of the European Union, especially, of course, focusing on those that have a liberal or Democrat leader.
And if any of our followers wish to subscribe to Streetfield, what do they have to do?
You can just head to our website, so that's renew-europe-cor.eu, and click on the tab that says Streetfield. It's that simple. Or you can find us on most social media channels at Renew Europe COR, where you can find the link to subscribe in our biography.
And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, Letter from Brussels, on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. Now, let's get back to the Arctic. Vanessa, tell us more about the actual program that Oulu has put together for European Capital of Culture. What are the main themes? What are the main events? What are the highlights in 2026 that you might recommend our followers or anybody else who is starting to plan a visit to Oulu in connection with Capital of Culture this year?
Well, the program is built around the idea of cultural climate change. It's reconnecting people, culture, and nature, and bringing art and technology together in new ways. The program broadens what culture means, focusing on inclusion, on equality rights, new audience, and strengthening the creative industries. It is truly regional because it's actually Oulu and 39 other municipalities that are organizing many events around three themes: the brave hinterland, the cool contrast, and wild city. Highlights in 2026 include the opening festival from the 16th to the 18th of January, with nearly 200 events across the city, and the world premiere of, I hope I'll say it correctly, a Sami opera Ovla.
Ovla, is that how it's pronounced? Ovla.
I hope it is.
Okay. If anyone of our followers knows how to pronounce this, they can send us an email, drop us a line, send us a message on social media. How do we pronounce this Sami opera? We think it's Ovla. Vanessa, sorry, carry on.
Another signature event is the Frozen People Festival that I mentioned as my personal favorite. And the year will culminate in December with the world premiere of the large-scale musical Snowball. Taken together, all these events, it explains why international media like CNN, BBC, or National Geographic are recommending Oulu as one of the places to visit in 2026. It's a place where European identity and culture, northern nature, and bold experimentation meet. So it's, I think, quite a
very distinctive program, and it sounds like a fantastic program. Sounds fun, inspiring, and enlightening. And it's true, it's unique. I've had the privilege of visiting 4 of the recent capitals of culture, Timișoara in Romania in 2023, and they had a different concept. Tartu in Estonia in 2024, again, a different concept. Nova Gorica in Slovenia, Julia, you were also there. That was Capital of Culture last year, 2025, again, with a completely different concept, and now Oulu. And I think that is, based on that experience, I would recommend our followers, they start to plan their holidays every year around the European Capital of Culture, because I think it's really an unbeatable way to get to know the European Union and our fellow European citizens.
And Sean, if you add Liepāja in 2027, it means that 5 years in a row, the European Capital of Culture was organized in a city that is part of our Renew Europe family.
You're absolutely right, Vanessa, that is true. Of course, European Capital of Culture has been around for 40 years. It's a non-partisan program. Over the 40 years, it's been awarded to cities whose mayors come from all different political families. But it is true that in our political family, there are many liberal and Democrat mayors who have a real passion for European Capital of Culture. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's a program that creates opportunity for personal development, showcasing the creativity of individuals, and giving citizens ownership of the transformation of their local community. But it's also about community at large. It's providing long-lasting investment for innovation, regeneration, and entrepreneurship, and having a legacy for the future. And last but not least, it's really about European identity and European values. It's helping citizens from the host city and from around Europe connect to each other, to learn from each other, but also discover what they have in common and recognize that they are part of a bigger community, the European Union. Many mayors have also said that before the capital of culture, feeling European was an abstract concept for their citizens. And that being a capital of culture definitely transformed that into something much more tangible.
Yes, and personally, having been to several different European capitals of culture, apart from the fun, apart from the inspiration that you get from the different events, I definitely share that view. It's an experience I've had. European capital of culture is a way to help citizens recognize and celebrate the European dimension of their identity. Because in reality, let's face it, we all have multiple identities. People come from a local community. They have a national citizenship. In some countries, a regional identity is also very strong. And most people are aware of those identities. But the truth is that all of us in the European Union, we have a part of our identity which is European, whether we like it or not, whether we recognize it or not. And there are many people around the European Union who feel it, who recognize it, and they want to celebrate it, but they don't know how to. And it is true, European capital of culture, whether you're a resident of the host city or whether you're visiting the city that's organizing it, is really an amazing way for people, for all of us to discover that dimension, that European dimension of our identities. But of course, Julia, it's not the only way, is it?
No, you're right. Of course, not everyone can visit a European capital of culture city, but there is an annual event where citizens can connect with their European identity, and it can be done right in their local community without traveling. And of course, we're talking about Europe Day. Europe Day is on 9th May, and to help make it happen, we encourage all of our political leaders and all of our local and regional networks to organize some sort of event with their local communities to celebrate this. The events can be fun, they can be serious, educational, or cultural.
Yeah, I mean, our president, François de Coster, he is organizing guided tours of his town, Saint-Omer, but it's not the usual tourist sites. It's places that have received EU funding. And other mayors have organized gastronomy fairs with Erasmus students, or debates or conferences about what it means to be European, or how European unity provides us with economic prosperity and a bigger voice in the world. And it can be also some symbolic event around the European flag or the anthem. It can be many different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And to our followers, if you're a political leader, I would urge you to start planning already for Europe Day on the 9th of May. And if you're a political leader or not, to start planning a trip to Oulu to visit it while it is the European capital of culture. Well, Vanessa, Julia, thank you very much. I think that we've learned today that European unity, while it depends a lot on decisions taken by European and national leaders in the corridors of Brussels, the fact is that European identity and European unity becomes a reality on the ground. It becomes tangible in our local communities. And that means that local political leaders are absolutely central to the success of the European Union. So once again, I hope that our followers are planning to visit Oulu while it is European capital of culture. And now, as always, we will finish with a story about the capital of the EU, Brussels. It's a story of a bid for European capital of culture that failed. Or did it? A few weeks ago, in mid-December, around 100 people gathered for a dinner just meters away from the Brussels Canal and only 10 minutes walk from the historic center of the Belgian capital. The diverse group of people had gathered in a repurposed premises just across the street from the town hall of the Molenbeek district of Brussels' capital region. There was music, dancing, speeches, and laughter. It seemed as if they were celebrating a triumph, and yet Molenbeek's bid to host European Capital of Culture in 2030 had failed. Reaching the final three, the jury had opted instead for the Flemish city of Leuven. So why the celebrations? Because for the people celebrating, European Capital of Culture had already begun transforming Molenbeek, and they had every intention to keep the momentum going. Having appeared in the international news in 2015, after several radicalized young men from Molenbeek carried out the horrific Paris terror attacks, many people have worked hard in the past decade to show Molenbeek in a different light. And this was best expressed by the organizers of Molenbeek's bid when they learned that Leuven had been chosen instead. They said, "This was never just about a title, but about what we could build together, and together we have achieved something special. Thousands of neighbors, artists, families, teachers, traders, students, social and cultural workers have formed a vision for Molenbeek that is open, generous, and truly European. The projects that have already emerged, opening up public spaces for creativity, empowering young people, and embedding art in daily life will continue to grow. The partnerships we have built across Europe remain strong," they said. And, they concluded, "we have laid the foundations for a better cultural future in Molenbeek, in Brussels, and in communities across Europe that are also looking for ways to live together and to create places where everyone can belong."